Boom. We are recording. This is Scott Hambrick. We'll put these on Scott Stream. And we'll also put this on scotthambrick.com like we always do. These are questions that are coming out of the Telegram channel. If you're not on our Telegram channel, you're messing up. Go to t.me/Scott Stream and get in there. In response to my little talk about Santa Claus making you a liar, or you being a liar if you have your kids believe about Santa, Kirk says, one of my paramedic school teachers told us that when he and his wife told their son that Santa wasn't real, his son looked at him and said, "So you lied to me." Yep. It's a lie. And kids know it's a lie. Don't lie to your kids. Mike says, I've got a training question. How do you determine an optimal weight for performance? I assume that you mean body weight. Is that true? Mike, are you still in here? If you're still in here, let me know. I assume you mean body weight. Yeah, Mike says he does mean body weight. So that's actually a pretty tough question. You know, if you are a power lifter or a strength lifter, you probably need to be as heavy as you can get. I don't know that I don't believe that that's good for you. I don't believe that that's a good idea. But you say optimal weight for performance, you know, it depends on what the performance is. If you are a power lifter or a strength lifter, then performance is going to be, you know, the heaviest possible single of a squat, press, bench press, or deadlift, depending on what you do, that you can make with your bones, right? So that's typically going to mean that you're going to be as heavy as you can possibly be in that arena. I right now am too heavy. I'm 6'2". I weigh about 230 pounds, and I'm too heavy for the performance that I need to perform. I'm working around my homestead here, and 230 pounds is too much weight to haul around on this 55 acres all day. I need to weigh something less. I probably need to weigh around 200 or 205. It's because I have a little different strength to weight ratio requirement for the performance I'm trying to obtain. So you know, it's different for different people. Mike says, I just want to live a good life and not be like the obese all around you. Yeah. So I think, you know, for a guy like you that's not going to go to a meet and you strength train, you want to, as long as you're eating 200 or 220 grams of protein every single day, that you are eating a couple hundred grams of carbohydrates every single day, and and you're continuing, you know, you get, maybe let's say you get 6 weeks of LP, 6 to 9 weeks of LP. Maybe, I don't know who you are, how old you are, how big you are. You get, you know, your intermediate phase. As long as you can get your intermediate training to last, maybe, I don't know, maybe eke out another 30 pounds of squat, or maybe even 40 pounds of squat. As long as you can do those things, whatever weight you end up at the end of that intermediate phase is probably okay. You know, I don't know how tall you are, how old you are, all that stuff. MMB says, do you believe in the utility of prayer? Yes, I do. Now, utility is one thing. Efficacy is something else. I believe in both. I believe it performs a purpose. For if you could, I believe that even if you were super cynical and even an agnostic, I believe that we can make lots of good arguments for the utility of prayer, just as a sort of a meditative and what's the word I'm thinking of? Affirmational practice. It's useful just on those grounds. but I also believe the thing works. Um, I think one of the problems with people in prayer, I'm not perfect by any means. I don't know everything by any means, but I think that a lot of people's prayer is specious and trivial and wrong. How about that? How about that? Does that sound pompous? It's not pompous. What I mean by that is, I think just about the only possible prayer that's that's good and valid is some version of "Thy will be done." Right? I don't think it makes good sense for me to pray that my football team wins on Saturday. But um, but if I pray in earnest that Thy will be done, that reconciles me to Thy will, and evil, being the privation of the good, helps me bring about that good. And uh, uh, I know this isn't probably isn't theologically sound, but that's the way I look at it. One man in here says, even having considered myself an agnostic for years, I've started to wonder about this myself. Yeah, it work. I believe that it works, and I believe it works in mysterious ways. That sounds like a cop out, but but I don't think it is. If you pray that the Lord's will be done, um, if you believe that evil is the privation of the good, you can go read my arguments, which aren't really mine. They're scholastic arguments for the nature of evil, about the nature of evil. If you go read that on my blog, and if you believe that evil is the privation of good, that evil is the absence of good, and that there isn't an entire vacuum of good, there can't be an entire vacuum of good. There's always some good. If you believe that, then that prayer that Thy will be done, um, invites that good in, and that that prayer that prayer prepares me, if nothing else, prepares me to help that good come in. And I think it actually does more than that. And I don't exactly understand it, and I don't care. I don't have to understand it. Andres says, "Does the lie of Santa have value in tradition or culture?" No. There's nothing wrong with having a legend, the legend of Santa Claus, just like we have the legend of Paul Bunyan, or um, or or even um, oh my gosh, the Abraham Lincoln was good. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with having legends, but to look your child directly in the eye and say that Santa Claus will know if you're naughty, he knows if you've been nice, and he's going to come and bring presents to you tonight, is a damnable lie. Now, stupid atheists right now are drawing that. They're making that stupid and specious connection between the lie of Santa and the lie of God, what they believe is the lie of God. They're making that stupid connection in their minds right now. Go read Aquinas. He makes 5 logical proofs for the existence of a creator. If you read those and you don't believe it, then you're an asshole and you're retarded. Guys, all of you atheist people are hanging your atheist hat on questions, objections, and problems that were dealt with definitively, logically in syllogism before 1274. There's that. It's so difficult for me to keep my pipe lit when I record. Mike, how tall are you? Mike is the one that had the question about weight training and optimal weight. How tall are you and how old are you, Mike? I'm going to assume that you are a man. One guy sends me a DM here that says, "I'm curious about Vatican II and good sources to understand what happened there." Um, I'm not the best guy. I'm not the best guy to ask that question. I'm not the best one to ask that question, but um, go read. Was it Cardinal Vignano? I believe is his name, or Vigano, Vigano. You can go look him up. I believe, and of course, these are anti-Vatican II people. That gentleman, the Kurgan, Kurgan, and Barnhart. You can go read them about it, and and they are not pro Vatican II sources. So I don't know. I don't know who the pro Vatican II sources are. Maybe that's that's everybody, perhaps. Mike says he's 6'3" and 220 at 35 years old. That's probably a good weight. He's got a 350 squat, a 250 bench, 170 press, and 455 deadlift. That's probably a good weight. If you aren't doing things that require you to be heavier or lighter, then you should probably gain a little bit of weight slowly, eating enough food to continue to drive PRs. You need to get with these sorts of numbers and your age and your stature. You should be trying to get the 200-pound press, the 300-pound bench press, the 400-pound squat, and the 500-pound deadlift. Those things are not out of reach for you at all. It's just a matter of time and how much time you want to spend on it. But at 6'3", you should be able to hit those things at, you're going to be in the 230 area would be my guess when you hit those things. Yeah, I hit all those numbers at around 225, and I'm 6'2". I'm an inch shorter. So 230, 235, something like that, you'll be able to get it. All right. Anything else? If there is nothing else, I will get off here and read some of these excellent books that I have in front of me. Mike's coming in with something. Oh, and Jake. Jake says, "Who do you think the Socratic crash course you are hosting at Online Great Books would be most worthwhile for? Would it be helpful even if I don't lead seminars?" Yes, it would be, Jake. If you're somebody that wants to host some seminars, I think it could be useful. But anybody that does seminar ultimately is sort of hosting one. We'll talk about the history of the Great Books movement. We'll talk about the Socratic method. What is it exactly, and then talk about some practical. We'll make a study of some practical guides to doing Great Books seminars. It should be helpful. It should be helpful. Mike said, "How's Shelby Foote treating you? Are you reading all the volumes for the podcast?" We're not reading them all for the podcast right now. We're reading volume 1 of Shelby Foote's Civil War narrative, and I love it. He's a wonderful writer. Um, he's about the only person that's even-handed in his discussion of the Civil War. In fact, he might still be a little more pro Union than I think he should be. I think he's more generous to Lincoln than Lincoln deserves. Lincoln's a madman. I don't want to give any spoilers out for of my take on Foote before the OGB show that we're going to do together. Carl, shoot, and I are going to do together. Yeah. There's one missing piece And I'm no Civil War historian. I'm an amateur. I'm no Civil War expert. But there's one missing piece that if someone told me that Lincoln held this one missing piece in as justification for the war in his mind, that I would accept Lincoln's motivations. It's not that I would agree, but I would understand. But as it is, he he seemed like an obsessed madman. I tell people, that telling your children that there is such a thing as Santa Claus is lying and insane behavior. I say things like that, and everybody thinks I'm nuts. And then they think about it for a minute and they're like, you know what? It is a lie. Even if we think it's cute, it's a lie at the expense of the children and teaches them that it's okay to lie. People then typically will come around to my way after they recoil and react and get defensive and entrenched in all their old stupid shit. They eventually will come around. And if they don't come around, you know, they're crazy, in my opinion. I'm not right about everything, but if I say that, if I declare that telling your children that Santa Claus exists is a lie, that's not an opinion. That's not even a hot take. That's a fact. If you're a Hindu and you tell your children that Shiva exists, that's not true, but you believe it, right? That's a different category than standing right in front of your child and telling them that Santa exists. That's a damnable lie. And when I point this out, people get defensive and then eventually will come around and say, you know what, you're right. Abraham Lincoln, with his single minded focus on quote unquote preserving the Union, is a monomaniacal fixation that holds the quote unquote Union in some sort of a mystical, otherworldly plane. I'm telling you, Lincoln had a single minded, insane fixation on that. Now, there's one thing that he could say that would justify it in my mind, would allow me to believe that he himself was justified in his mind. But everything I have read of him and everything that I have seen leads me to believe that he had a monomaniacal fixation, on quote unquote the Union. One of these gentlemen says he had the conversation with his wife today, the Santa conversation. We have a baby on the way, and she had the initial defensive reaction, but is now thinking on the point. Well, she can think on it all you want, but do not allow your wife to lie to your kid. If it pisses her off that you don't believe that you should lie to your kid, that doesn't matter. You are the dude, you are the dad, you do not allow her to lie to the kid. Now, you want to bring a consensus about, right? You want her to be on board. You don't want to just, you know, make a declaration and then like enforce it and, be awful about it. But you've got to take a stand. We don't lie to the children, or in fact, anyone. Don't allow it to happen. You know that saying, happy wife, happy life? That's a damnable lie, too. We got a couple more questions coming in, maybe. So we'll hang on here. Uh, Austin says, I told mine that simple statement. I don't want to lie to our kids. I gave her half a day and she came on board. Good. You got a good woman. That's good. Yeah, Online Great Books enrollment will open again on December 13th. I suspect that lots of the people that listen to Scott Stream that are in Telegram or in online crate books, we are having a more and more difficult time advertising all the time because the advertising market is fake and gay. Um, we are having to do all of our marketing the old-fashioned way. Please help us spread the word about what we do. Um, Send them the Online Great Books podcast. I don't know. Send them my podcast, and help us pass it on. And hopefully, we can continue to get people to read these books. Because these books. This will sound crazy, but these books save lives. The world is so upside down. It's so metaphysically broken. It's so disgusting that when an open-minded person gets his hands on, or her hands, gets their hands on Homer and reads about honor, and gets their hands on Plato and reads about Socrates and his rigor, and then get their hands on Herodotus and Thucydides and see the scope of history, and then get Aristotle in their hands and see that the world is explicable and humans are up to the task, and then later reads Boethius and then reads Aquinas. These books will save you from the insanity that exists in all of the world. When I say they save lives, I don't mean they're going to keep you from dying, but they'll keep you from dying a spiritual death. There's more than one way to do that, but this is one of them. Got one more guy typing here, and I'll see what's going on, and we'll sign off probably. Well, I got a new mic here actually, a friend of mine, Jared, sent me this mic 2 years ago for my iPad. It's a good shotgun mic. Got one of these furry things on it. And I lost it. And I found it in the glove box of my Kawasaki Mule. Why it was in there, I don't know. And using it today. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it worked well. Yeah. Well, Kirk has been typing for a long time. Hopefully he'll wrap that up. Oh, he's offering with a banner, pamphlets describing OGB and the seminar experience and testimonials. I can get a table at Sci-Fi conventions he goes to. I appreciate that offer. I'll think about that. We offer a referral program. When I go on other people's podcasts, I offer them a referral program where if somebody signs up using the custom link that I give them or their promo code, I pay them. When somebody signs up, I pay them. Nobody's getting rich off of it, but I pay people for their trouble and for the access to their audience. So maybe we could come up with something like that. Those damn banners are expensive. Let me know when your next one is, Kirk. February. Okay. Could be good. All right, guys. Go to scotthambert.com. Go to that RSS feed there. I think it's at the very bottom of the page, and subscribe to the RSS feed with your feed reader, Feedly, or whatever it is you use, and that'll give you notifications when I drop a new podcast, video, or even a blog post. Go do it.